Hello, everyone. Well, I just voted a moment ago. Um, See my little sticker? I don't know if you can see it in this light. It says, I voted. I give it to you for having performed your civic duty. Actually, there's something quite serious in that. It's the midterm election. I'm doing this on November 11th, 2014. And people choosing not to vote at all could very well determine who wins or loses it. The pundits are saying that Democrats are notorious for staying home, and that they are saying that this could very well tip the race to the Republicans. Now, I'm a good Democrat, have been for most of my life, so I've got to root for my team, and I hope that the pundits are really, really wrong, and that all us Democrats will get out there and retain control of the Senate. But we won't know what actually happened until this evening, of course. But even if, but win or lose, I have a feeling that the Democrats have a problem, and I would like to kind of talk about that a little bit. As I say, I'm a good Democrat, and I wonder why it is that my brethren don't go to the polls more often. I've heard lots of explanations. The Democratic voters are too immature, they're too lazy, they're too whatever. And I don't doubt that there's some truth to those explanations for low voter turnout among Democrats. Although I hope that none of them hold true in this election. I hope that I'm completely wrong on that. But the thing that strikes me about those explanations is that they leave out one factor, that is the party itself. The Democratic Party itself. No matter what hard things you say or believe about Democratic voters, the Democratic Party seems to have been rather poor at motivating them to vote. Case in point, some years ago I was living in Massachusetts. There was a midterm election, and it happened to be Senator Ted Kennedy's final term. I was like I say, I was a good Democrat, and I wanted to go out and support the candidate that I happen to admire, and I intensely admired Senator Kennedy. So I contacted the local office of the Democratic Party and asked what I could do to help. Well, they looked at me like I had lost my mind. Clearly thought, look at this dimwit who thinks he can actually make a difference, and said, well, if I wanted to donate some money, that would be fine. Well, I donated a little money. But then I wanted to do more, and I pressed them pretty hard about it. They shrugged a couple of times, sent me on my merry way. I got stubborn after that, and I contacted office after office, and I finally found somebody who was willing to dig up a Kennedy sign for me and tell me to go stand on a street corner, which I dutifully did. Why were they so reluctant to accept my help, even if it wasn't very much help? Well, I finally figured that out. They knew that Kennedy was going to win. They'd seen all the polls. It was obvious he was going to win. Why bother making the effort? So the consultants, the experts, the people in charge of such matters told them not to bother. It wasn't worth it. But then, a little time, a few years after that, Senator Kennedy passed on. There was a special election, and guess who won his seat? He was a Republican. The Democrats had just assumed that they were going to win it, as they had assumed that they were going to keep Kennedy in office, and so they didn't bother to work that hard at it and got what they deserved. You see, I think you need to fight every election, even the ones you know you're going to win or the ones you know you're going to lose. Why? Because it stirs up the passions of the party faithful. It gives them a reason to fight, a feeling that they're part of the effort, a feeling that they're part of the club, if you will. That's what the Republicans are doing. That's what the Tea Party does, win or lose. But it isn't what the Democrats are doing, I think, not enough. not enough. Way too often I've seen contests where the consultants are brought in and they make their cold-blooded calculations, they look at their spreadsheets, and they determine that either nothing can be done or nothing should be done. All they want you to do is to raise more money, which will, of course, be used to hire more consultants later on. So here's my advice to the leaders of the Democratic Party, to my own leaders, that is, the chieftains out there. Stop talking to consultants. Stop talking to the experts. Start talking to us, the people who would like to vote for you. Give us a reason to feel excitement. Give us a reason to fight. Give us a reason to carry on, even if this or that election it loses, so that someday we may actually win. When we want to carry signs or knock on doors or whatever, honor us, don't turn us away. And let's face it, speaking as someone who has been turned away, that happens way too often. So as I say, I hope that this evening's news is good for the Democratic Party. I hope that we have lots of folks in, that the election goes our way. But win or lose, I really think the Democratic Party needs to start talking to Democrats. Because if you cannot make us feel that you, the leaders, and we, the party faithful, are one and the same, that we are one group, then you will lose elections and you will lose us. And let's face it, the Democratic Party can survive without consultants, but it cannot survive without voters. Until next time.